Welcome, everyone, to our podcast show, Knowledge to Inspire. I'm Tiffani Patland, the author of Unlocking Your Ability to Heal.
And I'm Lauren Patterson, author of Freeing Your Heart for Love.
Our sole purpose is to discuss a variety of topics, both popular and taboo. We will be sharing our personal experiences and present experts, inspiring guests, professionals, and upcoming authors, all with the wisdom and knowledge to inspire you. What are we toasting to today, Lauren? And why are you wearing orange? Why are we wearing orange?
We are wearing orange because orange is a color of transformation. And that is really our topic today. We have a wonderful guest who is going to share his transformational journey. You know, basically taking a bad circumstance and turning it to something good. So that's why we are wearing orange. We are twinsies today. Tiffani.
Yes. And it really is. I was surprised. I thought maybe you might have a different color. I might have a different color, but it's like the same.
It's like so accurate. Just like the yellow, we were like so close yellow.
Right?
But what am I celebrating? I'm celebrating. I just did the One Woman World Summit speech on Saturday.
By the way, I watched it. It was amazing. You were amazing.
I was so nervous, Tiffani. Job. I should have taken the slide down and just had my face because I was so small. Because Gloria actually did it too. So shout out to Gloria and Stephanie and my son RJ. But I was so small in the corner. I was like, oh well, better luck next time.
Yeah, I saw that, but that's okay because you got it out of your system, and the more you do something, practice makes perfect. There you go. I thought you were great. You did really good.
Thank you. But I'm going to speak again in San Jose where we're at in July. So I signed up to do another speaking event, and maybe that's going to be on stage.
Ooh, that would be amazing.
Yes.
I'm so excited for you. That's a great celebration. Good for you. Yay.
Yay. Thank you. Cheers. So what are you toasting to today?
Let's see what's happened this week. Nothing exciting. I'm still waiting to get my book back from Interior Layout. I did send my book to our author community requesting reviews of my book. So that's kind of like a big deal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of authors in our group. So I did that. Other than that, I'm just celebrating where I'm at. You know, things are mellow. Everything is gravy. I can't have no complaints. I'm thankful and I'm grateful for a blessed day today and week, and everything's gravy. So I guess I'm celebrating that there's no negativity. How about that?
Yes. Perfect. I'm actually going to do a review for you too. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're going to get plenty. So.
Yeah, I think I finally got a week. I think the third week of February is where I'm looking to do my Amazon Kindle launch. So.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll know more as it gets closer.
Yes. So proud of you, girl.
Thank you so much. We are proud of us.
Yes, we are. I have a thought. I'll connect with you after the show. I have a thought for something else. We just come up with all these ideas.
Yes, we could talk like for hours. What we usually do after
I
this.
know.
Before and after.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we got to start pushing record sooner.
I know, because we do have some pretty interesting chats.
Yeah.
I did get the DJs. I think you got my text, right? I got the DJs. Yay! World famous DJs, CJ Flash and Big Russ. Did you check out their website?
Mm-hmm. I went and their Facebook page, and I went and I liked it. So I'm a fan now.
Yay! Yay! Every Friday they do a show from 12 to 4. You can listen in on Mixcloud.
Oh, I definitely want to do that. So
do you like that music? The R&B? The R&B jams?
There's some. I used to listen to that a lot when I was a teen, like all the what was it on BET? They had this Midnight Love dedications.
Oh, nice.
I love those songs.
Who was your favorite can you remember a song
by that guy named Jason? There's that one song, Baby, I wanna do all the that song. Oh, I love that song.
To me,
yeah,
I'll do that for you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that song! Like, oh my gosh, singing to me.
Now I'm gonna have to look that up.
I love that song.
Who that is?
Yeah, I love a lot of songs like that. I think it's J,SON. Jason, I don't know. He's the one that sticks out. I used to like back then. I liked Brandy. I liked Monica. I liked a lot of those lovey-dovey songs, that kind of music back then.
Oh yeah, girl, me too.
I still do kind of.
back there thinking about you.
Yes. That's great. Yeah.
R&B, like R&B is, ooh, can't get enough.
That's some good music. I think it's just, it all depends on my mood.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really depends on my mood.
Definitely.
Yeah, because sometimes I can get down and start dancing to some Spanish music. I don't even know what they're saying, although I should. I wish I did, but I don't.
Yeah. You crack me up. I love to dance. But I love R&B. Like R&B, me and R&B, we go way back. And I don't know what it is, because I can listen to all genres except for country. I don't really like country unless it's slow country. But R&B, like any time of the day, I turn R&B on and it just uplifts my mood. And I'm just so happy. I'm like, yeah, that's why every Friday watch their show, because they'll get your body going, girl.
I am. I'm going to watch it this Friday. I'm going to put that on my calendar.
I'm going to send you the link. You can listen to them on Facebook, Instagram, or Mixcloud.
Nice.
They're on some other platforms, but I listen on Mixcloud, and the chat room is crazy. If you go chatting with those people, they're pretty funny.
That's I want to get to know those people.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So, okay, we got off on a tangent, but we are talking. What's our topic, Tiffani, today?
About transformation. So I think you and I are deep in this with ourselves, with our own stories of transformation. And I know when I learned about Nelson and his story, I'm in love with it. I'm excited to meet him and talk to him, because I'm like proud of him. I'm like happy for him that he took such an unfortunate, circumstance. And some people probably view it as unfortunate. Maybe he doesn't view it as fortunate. Maybe he's thankful. Like there's that saying, it didn't happen to me, it happened for me. Yeah. So maybe to others, what happened to him might be, oh my gosh, horrific and stuff, like even what happened to me, what happened to you, but it happened for us, right? So that way we could be where we're at today. And Nelson is very successful and we are rising stars. So I love transformation. I'm excited about this topic. I know your whole life is an experience, but do you have any mini experiences you could share or anything you want to talk about with that?
I think something that I took bad turned into something good would probably be, gosh, that's so hard, because all I can think about is my past and my whole book. But like recently, I think I'm just learning more, like when I get people in my life that want to put me down, I think I turn that into a positive now. There you go. Because I used to be so pissed off and I would be mad at that person. But now I step back and I say, you know what, there's probably something else going on in that person's life. And I'm just going to send them love. And I really do send them love. Like I send it to them and I say, I want to, to chant for their happiness. And I want them to be happy. And then I just get something in return, like something magically just comes back to me. And it could be in the form of abundance, joy. I don't know. I just feel like that's something I've done differently now. And I'm not mad anymore at people who hurt me. I actually want to pray for them. So
I think that is very, very powerful. And I'm proud of you for doing that, because that's not easy. Mm-hmm. It's easier to, curse them out or wish ill things, right? Because that's where our mind naturally goes to. Mm-hmm. But I believe it's just a habit. Your mind goes there out of habit. Yeah. And why does our mind go there, right? And to me, I believe it's because we were triggered. Like they say, like there could be two people and I can send both of them the exact same message. One of them may respond offended and the other one may be appreciative, because it really, it just matters how that person receives it. And to me, I think it's what they're carrying inside them.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I say the same thing where I affirm my way out of things, from a bad thing to a good thing. When I feel myself like being overwhelmed or any of those negative feelings, if I feel my anxiety wanting to creep up and take over me, I'm like, yeah, no, you're not. But I affirm my way out of it. We can change our circumstances as long as you're self-aware, right? Yeah. I'm self-aware. Whoa, why did I react so strongly? Or why do I feel my anxiety trying to creep up and overcome me? Why this, why that? And that's when you could just affirm your way out of it. Say, you know what? I'm in control. I'm this. I'm level-headed. I'm healthy, whole, and complete. Whatever you need to say to yourself at that time, and that'll work. So those are great things to share.
Yeah. So do you have a transformational mini story?
Well, to be honest with you, it's way off of this, but it had to do with my past, and I don't know why. Maybe somebody needs to hear this message, but it was a time when it was just my mother and I, and we were living in Old Henderson, and there was an apartment building that only had 4 apartments. It was like a quadruplex, if that's what you call it, I think. And I had no phone, no nothing. We didn't have any furniture. It was just a little place. And I remember not having drawers, not having anything. So you could say that that was an unfortunate circumstance, but I transformed my space by like I would get a box and I would cut off the flaps and I would stand it up so it'd be like a rectangle. And I would fold my jeans and put them in there like that. So it was like makeshift dresser. So I guess you could say back then I would make the best with what I had. I actually have a friend. Her name is now, last name is now Selby, Emily Selby. Shout out to Emily. But I remember she told me that one time. It stuck with me. She said, you always manage to make the best out of, poor situations. And I think it was just because of how I grew up. It's like, well, this sucks. What can I do to make it better? And I think that's what my life has always been about. So I think having little bits of transformation throughout our lives is great. I think it's really good to have that. In our life.
And I'm just so blessed, like we both are, right? Or anybody out there, to transform your life. Because some people, they don't get there.
Yeah, and it breaks my heart.
Yeah, and we need more people to come out and share their story, because it truly, you never know who it's going to help. Like when I spoke at the summit, I'm going to be honest here. This is an honest show, but Tiffani, I only got 2 people to reach out to me from that summit. And I told myself, if I just can inspire one person, that's what I said initially when I started this journey last year. If I can inspire one person, and one person subscribed to my mailing list, and then a speaker reached out to me, and I'll tell you about that later. But it was just like 2 people, right? But there was probably, 50 people, 60 people on the call. And I was like crying. I don't know why. And I'm like, why didn't I reach more people? But then I stepped back, that whole transformational thought, and said, you know what? I said I wanted to inspire one person. I inspired 2.
Yep.
No, I did it.
Yes, you did, girlfriend. You did it. And you be proud of yourself, because you are awesome. And that's what I want people to know. I love that.
That's my happy dance.
No matter how small our progress may seem, or successes, or this or that, they are amazing and they deserve to be celebrated. Yeah. So anybody out there that's making changes, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to do this, if you're trying to do that, even if you lost 1 pound, that is amazing. That is amazing. Never complain or this or that, or even if you catch yourself, maybe try what Lauren did. You affirmed your way out of it, right? You realized, wait a minute. Yeah, that's self-awareness.
Yes. I was so proud of myself after the crying, of course. I'm so emotional lately.
Me too. What is it with that?
I don't know. Okay, so Tiffani, we're going to bring on Nelson. Let's see here.
I am so excited.
I know, me too. Hi, Nelson.
How are you? Hello.
Hi.
It's so nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
I like your background. Is that real, or is that the Zoom background?
No, that's real.
Oh, nice.
That's real.
Cool. Well, thank you for being here. We're so honored that you're excited that you decided to join our show. We've both been reading about you a lot, and we're inspired by your story.
Very much.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, this is pre-recorded, but we pretend like we're live.
Okay. Perfect.
So we're just gonna talk about your bio here. I went to your website, and I just think this is too inspirational not to share. So I'm just gonna read a little bit about it to let everybody know a little bit about you.
Okay.
Nelson's success and life philosophy come from his unique beginnings: rape, murder, extreme poverty, and the biggest trail ever to hit his small town were just a few things waiting for Nelson upon his birth. The child of a 15-year-old mother, Nelson's young life had him starting at the bottom. The oldest of 5 children and raised in poverty by an abusive stepfather, Nelson turned resourcefulness and tenacity into a life skill. He played college football and joined the U.S. Air Force on the GI Bill, completing tours in Saudi Arabia and Turkey. Upon leaving the Air Force, Nelson fulfilled his first big goal of being the first person in his extended family to receive a college degree.
Wow.
So, welcome, Nelson.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
And so we have some questions for you, but we want you to share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. But what inspired you to start this journey? And I know, you got a company and everything, so we just want you to share anything you want.
Yeah, I mean, I've got quite the origin story. My mom became pregnant with me when she was 15 years old. And while she was pregnant with me, her father, who was the local trash collector in a small town in central Pennsylvania, drove into the town square. There he spotted 2 police officers. He stuck a gun out the window and opened fire on those police officers, killing one and critically wounding another. And eventually my grandfather was captured and brought to stand trial, where he was facing the death penalty. And during his trial, my mom got up and testified to the jury that the reason that her father had shot and killed that police officer was that that police officer had raped her, and she was now pregnant with his baby, me. Mm-hmm. And that testimony worked. My grandfather's first trial ended in a hung jury. The state took the death penalty off the table, and eventually at the second trial, my grandfather was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, where he ended up spending the rest of his life, more than 40 years behind bars, leaving behind, me, his family, which my mom comes from a family of 15 children, and his wife, and then now me, in this small town to kind of deal in the wake of everything that all that represented.
Yikes. You were definitely dealt a very difficult hand. But look at you now. What I'm curious about is, you had a very rough, hard start. When was that point that you were able to turn your life around to say, you know what, this didn't happen to me, this happened for me? When did that happen for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, believe it or not, my life didn't get any easier. I'm born to the mother of a 15-year-old and everything that represents. But eventually my mom met a man who would eventually become my stepfather. Come to find out that he was an alcoholic, very abusive physically and emotionally to me and my mom. And eventually they have 4 other children, all under, 4 children under the age of 4. And because of the lifestyle that they're living, and a lot of the basic needs of my siblings fall upon me as the oldest, from diaper changing to bottle feeding to even waking up at 2:00 in the morning to put babies back to bed. And because of all of this, my social life and my schooling are suffering dramatically. I mean, my mom would rather me stay home from school and help her with the babies than go to school. And one night, my stepfather is walking home drunk from a bar, and there's somebody else driving home drunk from that bar, and they end up hitting and killing my stepfather. And it's at this time that my mom, here she is with 5 young children, and she has lived a brutal life up to this point. But losing my stepfather really broke her, and it left her with really no hope. I mean, she's dropped out of school in the 8th grade. She's never worked outside of the home. And it's at this time that she decides that, she can't do it anymore. And she decides to take her own life, and she attempts suicide. And fortunately, she was not successful. But whenever she did that, she got placed on a psychiatric hold. And when she got out, it was at that time that she just determined that there was no way that she was going to be able to care for all 5 of us on her own. And that's when my family got split up, and I went to go live with my grandmother, who was the wife of the man who shot and killed the police officer. And for the first time in my life, I didn't have to worry about food in the refrigerator. I didn't have to worry about, heat or turning on the light switch and the lights actually working. And especially I didn't have to worry about, my stepfather coming home drunk and beating me or my mom, or having to take care of my siblings. And at this time of my life, I just started to kind of reflect and look and see where my life was heading. And I could tell, it wasn't heading in a direction that I wanted it to go in. And one day, a counselor came from the local university to talk about what you needed to do to get into college. And at that time in my life, I kind of looked at college and thought, man, if I could graduate from college, the rest of my life would be perfect. And so, I started to think to myself, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to college and graduate. And you know what happens as soon as you start telling yourself you're going to do something hard, that voice in the back of your brain starts to scream at you all the reasons you shouldn't even attempt it. And I remember, thinking to myself, at this time of my life, I'm in special ed. I can't read, I can't write, I can't spell. I have dyslexia. And of the family that my mom came from, of those 15 children, only 2 had ever graduated from high school. None had ever even gone to college. But, I told myself, what do you have to lose? So I just started to, after that day, I started to do the things that I thought would get me into college. And 12 years after kind of setting that goal, which I didn't even know what a goal was at that time, but 12 years later, 4 different universities later, 4 years in the United States Air Force on the GI Bill to get money to go to school, I eventually became that first person in my family to graduate from college and get a degree.
That is amazing.
That is truly
amazing.
Goosebumps
because I am so, I don't know. I love your story. I love your story. There's a lot of parts of your story that I can relate to. So I feel for you and I love it. I mean, you're amazing. I mean, to be able to turn your life around, what an inspiration you are. That is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And just like anybody's life, I mean, my story is unique to me, but I think there's a lot of people out there who their stories are unique to them. And we all have those trials and those struggles that we have to get through. And you know what? I believe you kind of get through them the same way, no matter what your story is and what your circumstances are. And you talked a little bit about the new business that I started, I Got Smarter, which is, helping people live the life of their dreams through goals and personal development. And that's why I started I Got Smarter, is where I came from and what I had to deal with, and seeing what power, goals and personal development have is when you put your mind to setting a goal and you actually see it through. Not only does a goal change the person's life who achieves it, it changes everybody's life around them, and it changes the generations that follow them. I mean, as I said here, my kids are living a drastically different life than I lived, just one generation later. And that's the power of goals and personal development. And that's why I want to take it out to as many people as I can.
That's
I love
great.
that.
Yeah. I mean, we want to learn all about your business, but I know that because you sound a lot like me and Tiffany. Like we took our story and we transformed it. We turned our bad circumstances or our certain life situations into something good. And so how did you lived such a traumatic childhood and raising your siblings and your mom almost taking her life. I almost took my life. So I know where your mom was in that place. But how did you heal yourself as an adult? Did you seek therapy, or how did you transform all of those thoughts into what you're doing today?
You know what? I'm pretty faith-based. I mean, I have a strong faith, and I think that helped me a lot. And I married well above my pay grade. So I think my wife really helped me out, and her family, and kind of seeing how families were supposed to be. And just realizing that, this was my life. And as soon as I started to take 100% responsibility for my own success is when my life kind of changed. And, I'm not sitting here telling you I was never in that victim mindset. I absolutely was growing up, and some of the things that I dealt with that I talk about in my book, The Unlucky Sperm Club, it didn't seem fair to me. And it didn't seem like, anything that I did brought that stuff on. A lot of it was brought on because of what my grandfather had done and what my mom's, testified to. And, I felt like, why is this all happening to me? Why am I dealing with these consequences? I didn't do anything. So yeah, I had some of that growing up, but, as I got into goals and I really, after I graduated from college, That was 20 years ago. I became obsessed with goals and personal development. I thought to myself, you know what, if somebody like me who came from where I came from, if I could use a goal to get a college degree, what else could I do with goals and personal development? And after that, I started to really, go to every seminar I could afford. I started to buy every goal program that I could get my hands on and read every book that I could get. And I really just became obsessed with it and started to use it in every area of my life, from, my relationships to my health to, my business. And because of those goals, I've had, some great success in my adult life. I've been, the top salesman worldwide in commercial real estate for a top 5 real estate firm. I've been able to start 10 businesses, including one of the largest, pet resort chains and privately owned pet resort chains in the country. And, I just celebrated my 25th wedding anniversary. All these things are, goals that I've had and goals that I've worked towards. But that's the power of goals, is when you start living your life with purpose and focus and knowing what you want, knowing where you want to end up. That's when you start to live a life that, you're proud of it and the life that you really want to live.
Wow.
So awesome.
It's like you're inspiring me. It's like confirmation, like, yes, we're on the right path. We're there. Like, it's just so amazing. It's just incredible. I love your story. Absolutely love your story, in case you can't tell.
Thank you.
We want to know that your book title. Oh my gosh. So I had struggles with my book title. It came to me on a mini trip in Napa one weekend, but your book title, like, how did you come up with that book title? That was like a very catchy book title.
You know what? In commercial real estate, you would have these people who kind of inherited businesses from their parents. And we had these guys that would always say, oh, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's part of the Lucky Sperm Club. And, you would also hear that of everybody who's kind of born into privilege. And that was actually going to be the title, because you know what? I wanted to put a spin on it, because as we've all seen in the news, we've seen these people born into the privilege and seen what a disaster their lives turn out to be because of all that privilege. And, I believe privilege is probably a bigger hindrance to success than hardship is. And that's what I wanted to convey with that. And so I started to kind of play with the title a little bit. And then the Unlucky Sperm Club came up. And, and in my book, I kind of spin it a little bit that, if you are born into that Unlucky Sperm Club, it could be the best thing that ever happened to you, because it gives you that drive and it gives you that fuel to really go after and achieve your goals. And, the subtitle of my book is you are not a victim of your circumstances, but a product of your choices. And that's what my book is trying to convey to people is, get out of, you're not a victim of those circumstances. If you want to change, you have that power to change. You have that ability to change, and you will be a product of your choices. I really believe we are exactly where we choose to be. And if you want to be somewhere else, start making some different choices, and you'll eventually get there.
That is great advice. That's actually what I was going to ask you about with being influenced. Like, is there people throughout your life that stick out that you could say helped you, that stick out, that were super influential to your path?
Yeah. I had a few people. I mean, first of all, I went to go live with my grandmother. And, I lived with her when my mom was 15. I was in that home for a few years until my mom went on her own. So we always had that special bond. And, my grandma almost every day of my life told me, Nelson, you're going to make something of your life. And she told me it so often that I started to believe it. And I loved her so much that I wanted to do that, because she kept telling me it and she kept believing in it. And so I think that was one of the key things is, I just wanted to make something of my life to make my grand proud. And so, that was one thing and probably the biggest influence in my life. And then when I was like 11 or 12 years old, I got placed into the Big Brother, Big Sister program. And I had a big brother and his wife, Chuck and Mary Dye account. And they kind of gave me that contrast at first of what, a great family looked like and what things were possible out there. And Chuck was a student at Penn State University, and he had gone to school on the GI Bill. He went into the Navy to get money to go to school. And so I think, I saw a lot of what he was doing and looked up to him and really, drew inspiration from him. And I think that helped me. And then, just other friends and people kind of growing up and giving me that contrast of what was different from my family. I think contrast is a huge thing. And I think it's a huge advantage if you were, you're part of that Unlucky Sperm Club, is to see how other families do things or whatever. Once you have that contrast, then what choices you need to do to either get away from where you're at, or choices to make to get to where you want to go.
That's true, because if you're just stuck in your environment and that's all you see is negativity, abuse, and all this stuff, then how do you know that there could be anything different? So
yeah.
That's really true what you say. I remember as a little girl, I myself used to read the Bernstein Bear books, and they're very family oriented. Yeah. So I think that's where I think that has something to do with my own personal inspiration through life, because I had that in my head that, well, they were a nice, cute little family. Yeah. That stuff's happening, but I know there's still a possibility that you could be a cute little family. So that's important.
And I think too, you also, you talk about that just reading that book, in the influence that, a book like the Berenstain Bears has on you. But I also believe you got to fill your mind with positive things. And, I start every single day, first of all, with my app, I Got Smarter. I'm planning out my days. I'm reviewing my goals. I'm giving gratitude. I want to have the attitude of gratitude no matter what I'm striving to have. I want to be happy with what I have, not satisfied, but definitely have gratitude for it. So I do that. And then I'm always watching inspirational videos and motivational videos to get me going throughout the day. And, I think as you fill your mind with those type of things and listening to good books, with dyslexia, I kind of consume everything through listening to it, but whether you're reading it or not, but just filling your brain, it's like your body. If you're going to eat, crap all day, you're not going to feel great and your body's not going to do well. It's the same thing with your mind. If you're going to watch, the news, or you're going to be around a bunch of Debbie Downers all the time, and they're talking about everything that's wrong in the world, that's going to affect you, and that's going to affect your thoughts and your mindset. So get away from that and fill your mind with inspirational things and motivational messages. And all of a sudden you'll start looking for opportunities instead of looking for problems.
That's amazing. Tiffani and I live our life like that. I do the same thing every morning. That's the first thing I do is read an affirmation. I go to my Secret app. I love The Secret, Rhonda Byrne. And I just read that every single morning. I have a morning ritual to get my mind going first thing. So yeah, that's great advice. But
did you watch The Secret movie?
Yes, I did.
There's a new movie out there that's kind of like a drama movie that I saw on Netflix. I watched it. It was good.
Yeah, was it with, I forgot who it was with, that famous actress. I can't even remember her name.
Oh, it was good. Put it on my watch list.
Yeah, it was good.
I think it was Katie Holmes. Was it Katie Holmes?
It was Katie Holmes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Tiffani, you have to watch it. It's good.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
Done.
So I read a little bit about your career, and I worked in the property management industry for 5 years. So I worked with brokers, and I'm familiar with the company you worked for, but how did you start your business from, like, you went from that to being, your own entrepreneur, CEO, for like people who are listening who want to start their own thing? Like, how did you go from that to that?
Yeah. So, I got into commercial real estate right out of college, and I kind of tell that story in my book, The Unlucky Sperm Club. And I've done that for 20 years. And like I said, I've been very successful in it, been number one in the world a couple times for my company and in the retail division. But while I was in that, I was exposed to other opportunities in business, and and I'm kind of a deal junkie. And I started to invest in businesses and get involved as an investor. And then a deal went sideways and I ended up having to take that business over to save it. And then, I bought a property and ended up, couldn't find a tenant for it. And then found a tenant, and then they backed out. And I loved the business idea that they pitched me so much that, I went into it, and that's how we started our Doggy District Pet Resorts, and ended up growing that to one of the largest privately owned chains in the country. So I think looking for opportunity, and all along I kept my day job. I say that in quotes, but brokerage was the main way that I supported my family and made money for the longest time as I build up these other businesses. And I feel like that was so important as I kind of built these things, because cash flow is one of the main problems when you're starting a new business. And I was able to kind of bring that cash flow in through my main resource in commercial real estate, in the deals that I did there, and not really have to depend on these new businesses while they were starting. And, it was my goal that I wanted to replace my income from my investments, from commercial real estate. And I was eventually able to do that. And then eventually I was able to sell the businesses, a few of the businesses. And then you get to that point where, okay, what am I going to do? I feel like I'm still young, even though my birthday was yesterday and I'm feeling a little older today. But, I felt like I was still young. I didn't want to just watch, waves crash on the shore. That's not the type of person I am. And I started to think, okay, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And I've always been that goal guide. I've always helped people with their goals, and I saw how powerful goals could be. And, I had that epiphany one day that, this is what I need to do with my life, is, to share my story. Because first of all, nobody knew that story that I just told you about my grandfather and my mom. Nobody knew that story where I live now, except for my wife. I told her before I married her, but I didn't tell my kids. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell my in-laws. That weakened me for the longest time. And then when I was thinking about helping people achieve their goals and becoming the best versions of themselves, I was reflecting upon why I lived the life that I had lived. And it was very clear to me that, I lived this life and I made it out, and so that I could share my story and give other people inspiration and hope to know that there was an opportunity to make it out of tough circumstances. And all you had to do was kind of choose. And then that's when I decided to write the book and get it out there to, help inspire other people to take control of their lives.
Yeah, to be vulnerable with your story, even me and Tiffany's story, there's things in my book that nobody knew about. I did tell my husband before I married him, same scenario, but he just held me as I cried. I was just so embarrassed and ashamed, but I think you being vulnerable and coming out is going to help a lot of people, and also help others come out and share their story to help heal, because it's also cathartic when you write about these experiences. And it's just so, I read a quote about vulnerability, like, even artists, even singers, they're so vulnerable with their music that those become like the best sellers. So yeah.
True.
Well, and in my family, believe me, vulnerability was not looked upon favorably. I mean, you never wanted people to see you, be vulnerable. So it was very hard for me to write it. And believe me, I pulled back the curtain on a lot of things, my struggles as a husband and mine and my wife's marriage, and, my struggles as a father, and, businesses and the mistakes that I made, because I wanted people to realize, I think one of the biggest, problems is people see somebody who has some success, and they either think that it happened overnight, or they think that they had no struggles in doing it. And I wanted to kind of show people, hey, everybody goes through struggles. Everybody has those problems. Everybody is, one or two choices away from failing miserably.
Mm-hmm.
And all you have to do is just continue to fight and not give up. And eventually you'll get there. And that's what I wanted to do with my book. I mean, I talked about with my marriage, me and my wife separated, and, but, like I said, yes, this month we celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. And that was because we both got through it and knew what we wanted, and both had the same goal of having, the family that we have. And it wasn't easy, but, we got there. And that's what I want to convey to people is success in any area of your life, whether it be your weight or, relationships or business or financial. None of those things are easy. I mean, they're all worth it and they're all doable, but I wanted them to realize it takes work. And, as soon as you start dreaming, you better start working soon after that if you really want it to happen for you.
I agree with that. It's like I love what you said when you said you're just one or two choices away. And it's true. It all comes down to choice. But I think a lot of people are so weighed down by all their trauma that sometimes they can become blind and it's hard to see. What would you say to somebody like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, one of the greatest philosophies that we have in our program, I Got Smarter, is things only have the meaning that you're willing to give them. Mm-hmm. And I'll use my story as the perfect example. For the longest time, the circumstances of my birth weakened me, and I had pain and I had nothing good, associated with that. And then, whenever I was reflecting on what I was going to do and realized that, hey, I survived that. And the reason that I lived that was so that I could help other people. All of a sudden, I gave those events a different meaning. I gave them a positive meaning. Same exact events, same events that were, made me miserable growing up. Now I get excited by that story and I get inspired and I get motivated. The only thing that has changed is that I gave it a different meaning. And I really think that anything that happens to us in our lives, if we're creative enough and we try hard enough, we can find something positive in that. And if we get to assign meaning to everything that happens to us, why on earth would we ever assign a negative meaning that didn't benefit us? And, you guys had mentioned why were, things happening to you or things happening for you. And that's kind of the same scenario, is how are you looking at these things and what meaning are you giving them? And, when you can master that and find good things in everything that happens to you, your life will drastically change and it'll change quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We were just talking about that before you jumped on about how I had experienced hurt, but then I sent love to that person. I stepped back, and that's where I truly seen my transformation. Is before I would be like cussing them out and stuff, but I just sent love to that person. And that is truly it transforms your life. That's really what it was about.
And you talk about forgiveness there. I mean, I think that's a key thing too, is to forgive, and forgiveness isn't a gift for the person that you're forgiving. Mm-hmm. Forgiveness is a gift for you. And you just told the story of how it helped you. And that was the same thing. A lot of people look at my story and ask if I have any resentment towards my mom or my family. Absolutely not. I mean, my mom had a rougher life than I had, and she was, doing her best, and she's a drastically different person, 35 years after all of this has happened, and my biggest fan. And so, I mean, I can't imagine holding a grudge. So, I mean, I try to forgive everything that's, happened to me. And, I don't do it for them necessarily. I do it for myself, because I don't want to lug that around. I don't want to turn the corner and see somebody that I'm holding a grudge at and feel the way that makes you feel. So when you can truly forgive, that's when, life starts to get good as well, because now you're not lugging that around with you. That hate or resentment or whatever is going through your veins when you haven't forgiven somebody fully.
Right.
I'm glad you said that, because I know that in sharing my story, and I talk about that, and people are surprised. I think people are kind of shocked that I've been able to forgive certain people in my own upbringing for everything that they've done. But it's exactly everything that you just said. It's not for them. It was for me. And I had been carrying it around all my life. And as soon as I started realizing it's all about changing your perspective and realizing everything and looking at it differently, which I did. And once I started to forgive those people, that's when my life really changed. And a lot of people don't believe that, though. I see it all over social media. People still don't grasp what forgiveness is and how good it is for you, how it's for you. I've even had people refer to it as toxic positivity. And I'm like, no, it's not what toxic positivity is. Forgiveness is for you. It really is a gift.
Yeah. I mean, I like the way somebody summed it up. It's like, not forgiving. It's like drinking poison and then hoping that it kills the other person. And
yeah,
good one.
One thing that I always looked at is, you have two choices. When somebody wrongs you, it's like a rattlesnake biting you. You can chase after that rattlesnake and try to kill it for what it's done for you, or you can seek help and try to save yourself by forgiving. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. And people who hold these grudges, it doesn't benefit them. I mean, why on earth are we doing anything in this life that doesn't benefit us? And, one thing can be in a place at the same time. And if you have this resentment and you have all this anger, happiness can't be in that area at the same time. So you can't be fully happy. You can't be fully satisfied when you're carrying around these negative feelings with you. And I talk about that addition by subtraction in my book. Is sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is to get rid of some things. And that opens up places for new things, whether it be people or feelings or whatever. Sometimes the best thing that can happen is to get rid of stuff, and forgiveness will do that for you.
Yeah, purging is great, especially like what you were talking about, how the people that you surround yourself with, if, like you said, if there's negative Nancy's, people that just, are talking negative and all this stuff, then they're creating an environment, that's not necessarily good for you. So sometimes you have to purge your friends. And I noticed that I went through that, and then it got lonely. But the good thing about that is that now you're available to get a new circle of friends, people that are more level-headed, people that are on a healthier path in life, people that may not, be doing the things that maybe you were doing before in your past. And that's something that I personally learned, because my entire life I was living a false identity. It wasn't me. It wasn't who I truly was. And ever since I've emerged, everything is different. Everything is different. And I'm just like you, all about learning. I can't learn enough. I just want to keep learning. I want to hear stories. I want to be inspired. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But, hats off to you. I mean, you're our first guy on the show. We were so excited to have you because we were like, oh my gosh, we're just being reached out by all these women. It's like, we need a guy. And so, a lot of men, they don't talk about their feelings, in my experience. I've dated a lot. So I really am proud of you to come out and I'm even getting my husband to talk about his feelings more. But how can the readers find you? How can they find your I Got Smarter app? Can they get it on the App Store?
Yeah. So, I mean, you can go to NelsonTressler.com and everything you can find there. You can find the app. You can find the book. The book is available on Amazon. It's available on Audible if you listen to books, which is, driving down the road and listening to your own book after listening to books for 20 years is a great thing. So that just came out. And the app, I Got Smarter. I mean, this app is, our object at I Got Smarter is to change the world one person and one inspiring goal at a time. And when we built this program, that was how we built it. And so what we're doing at I Got Smarter is we're giving away the app for 30 days for free to make sure that it's a good fit for you. And then after that, it's $9.99 a month. And this app changes people's lives. It gives them all the tools, the knowledge, and the support to finally see their goals through to the end. And really start living the life that they were meant to live.
It sounds like it'll help keep you committed. It helps keep you on track.
Yeah, I mean, we build in, over my 20 years of goal fulfillment, I mean, I've seen what's worked, what hasn't worked, where I failed, where I needed to patch holes. And I wrote up this program, I Got Smarter, over 2 years, and really tried to patch every hole where people struggle in achieving their goals. And one of the cool things is through the app, you can invite what we call a success partner. And that success partner can see what you're doing in the app real time. So we have a morning and an evening ritual. So every morning you start, by giving gratitude, and you learn success principles, and you review your goals, and you do your to-do list for what you need to accomplish to get closer to your goals. And it automatically populates your day. So essentially, after your morning ritual, all you have to do is start checking off your to-do list. But let's say you don't do your morning ritual, you got busy or you forgot about it. Your success partner gets an alert that says, hey, your partner hasn't done it. And then you can kind of reach out to them and give them some inspiration, because what we realized is you don't have a knowledge problem when it comes to achieving your goals. We have an execution problem. We just don't do what we know we need to do. And that's what that success partner does. And having that real-time communication through the app makes all the difference. I mean, we're 95% more likely to follow through on what we said we were going to do if there's somebody else who's involved. And we have a lot of other things, consequences and rewards that we associate, and we teach people how to write a proper goal. There's a lot to that. And working, we have to outthink this, prehistoric mind of ours that wants to keep us safe and comfortable. And we have a lot of philosophies and strategies to do that. But yeah, it's the only way you can really fail is if you quit, and we almost make it impossible for you to quit. So people are having great results with it and great success.
I'm excited to download that app.
Me too.
And buy your book.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So
do you have any final words? Maybe we like to leave everybody with a quote. Is there something, a quote, a message, anything you want to say to our listeners?
Yeah, you know what? I see so many people that get inspired after listening to something like this on a podcast or reading a book or going to a conference, and they're all fired up, and then they want to wait until something else happens. They want to wait until all the lights are green before they start on their journey. So what I would say is, if you've been inspired, don't wait. Start right now. Don't let your mind, talk you out of it and try to become comfortable again. Do it now. I mean, so many people's dreams get put on hold for waiting for Monday or waiting for New Year's or waiting for the first of the month. Don't do that. Start now. Start where you're at. That's the only place we can start, and start now. And you'll be happy that you did.
That's beautiful.
That is a beautiful message.
That actually reminds me, Matthew McConaughey just came out with a book called Green Light.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
he
read
actually, before his cover, he actually had a picture of the lights with the green. So it just instantly when you said that, start now, I thought of the green light.
Matthew's he's my man crush. So I've definitely read that book, and I was happy that he used those green lights, and his is a great book. And that analogy is so true. I mean, and he talks about it a little bit different with the green lights on how to progress through life. And, but I think a lot of people see those red lights, and, success is a lot like walking through fog. We want to see everything before we start on our journey. It's not like that. As you walk through fog, every step that you take, a little more of the landscape opens up to you. And the more steps, all of a sudden you start to see things that you didn't even know were there. And that's why we just have to get started. I mean, the journey of 1,000 miles is started with one step. And not only do we have to take that one step, we have to take it right away. And we have to do it right now and start where we're at.
Yeah. And I didn't know that he even struggled from moving out of that comedy love story into what he really wanted to do as an actor. And that just opened my eyes. I'm like, wow, even somebody as successful as him had to take a step back from his success to do what he really wanted to do to be more successful. So I was just You know, it's just amazing.
Well, and I mean, that was a perfect addition by subtraction. I mean, he
Yes.
had to get rid of those roles in order to get the roles that he really wanted. And, that, like he talked about, that would be hard, to give away 12 or 13 million dollars. I think he got offered for one movie and he turned it down, man. To be in that position, that'd be hard for anybody.
Yeah, we got to get him on the show, Tiffani. Matthew, if you're out there,
Yeah, Matthew
call us.
McConaughey.
I want to be on that show too.
Yeah, we'll bring you back, Nelson.
We'll bring you back for sure.
We're gonna try to get him. We'll get him on the show. He's gonna be on the show. We're gonna manifest that.
Yes.
But thank you so much,
Nelson.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm all fired up and inspired, and I hope your audience is as well.
They have to be. I'm inspired. I'm ridiculously inspired right now. I want to go do something.
I know. I want to go run around the block. I feel like I want to go exercise.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You were a joy.
Thank you, Nelson.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.